Area 51. You already know some of the theories out there that support the position that aliens have already visited our beautiful blue planet in Roswell. For instance, some people believe that aliens crash landed and little green men were quickly taken away. Where are they now? The 51. Some conspiracy theorists tell us and may have been used to help the American military create highly advanced military technology, but these cases are just touching the tip of extraterrestrial iceberg. Today we'll dig a little deeper in this episode of the infographic show. What is the likelihood aliens have already made contact? We'll start by noting that many stories make the rounds regarding whistleblowers who confessed that they have proof that we have been in touch with aliens, and many other stories are just plain old alien sightings. These may or may not be true. Many stories get the bump and others are too preposterous to even gain traction. It's up to us as amateur internet sleuths and part-time alien investigators to look through the evidence and ascertain an opinion. We might take the case of former Lockheed Martin engineer and Area 51 scientist Boyd Bushman, who confessed on his deathbed that we had made contact with Bailey. He even had photographs to prove it. He said two types of aliens were here on Earth, describing them as wranglers and wrestlers, the former being friendlier than the latter. He said in his confession, which is available on YouTube, that a great deal of information should be lifted up from those dark recesses of Area 51 and moved over so people can see that we watched the video, and he at least seems convincing. He shows photos he acquired of an alien craft and one of a 4.5 foot to 5 foot tall alien with 3 backbones. He said at least 18 of them exist within Area 51. These aliens, he said, are telepathic. The problem is the only evidence he has are these photographs, and as critics have pointed out, the pictures he holds up look like alien dolls that can be purchased here on Earth in stores. Many people decry this man as a loon, even though he was a highly intelligent engineer with patents to his name, while others have suggested that he was probably just suffering from senility. Of course, conspiracy theorists will tell you that this is just a smear campaign and that the smear further supports the existence of aliens, but the tale gets stranger when you invoke another Area 51 engineer who also said he had worked on alien technology, mainly reverse engineering alien spacecraft. His name is Bob Lazar. He is still alive and still stands by what he first said in 1989, that Area 51 was the location where several alien spacecrafts recapped. He also said aliens have been around on Earth for at least 10,000 years. Lazar is the person mainly responsible for starting the Area 51 conspiracy. While his educational background has come into question, Lazar has stated that the government wiped all his educational records to undermine his claims. We should add that former President Bill Clinton has also said he wouldn't be surprised if aliens have visited Earth, and said he even sent his people to Area 51 to look for signs of them. He concluded in a TV interview, "There are no aliens there, but that won't appease the believers. You can hear more about Area 51 on our dedicated show." All this may sound even sure if you saw the recent anonymous video stating that NASA was about to tell us a big secret, but it has discovered the existence of aliens. But Anonymous didn't actually tell us what NASA was going to say, and according to most media, its announcement was based on the fact that NASA has found lots of new planets in the last several years thanks to the Kepler telescope launched a few years ago. According to NASA, 20 of those planets are similar in size to Earth and could possibly sustain life. NASA called the location of these planets the habitable zone, as water would not freeze there nor would it burn up. But we should reiterate, Anonymous has yet to say anything to make us believe contact has already been made. So what about those people who say they have been up close and probed by aliens, what we call an alien abduction, in a denunciatory manner? Deceased American comedian Bill Hicks once pondered, why is it that aliens always land in rural America, the cross galaxies, or wherever they come from to visit us, and always end up in places like 5 Alabama? Maybe these are not super intelligent beings, ma'am. Maybe they're like hillbilly aliens, said Hicks. And while that was a joke, it should make us question the strange phenomenon of these adoptions happening around the same areas in the United States. Is it hysteria, psychosis? Well, psychological studies have shown that people who said they were abducted were not mentally ill. People have reported being objective all over the world, but America easily leads the way. Are any of those adoption stories convincing? There are too many stories to mention, but most are similar. People are abducted, usually adults, then probed, sometimes taken on a tour, and then sent back. One of the most famous cases was that of American couple Barney and Betty Hill, who said they were abducted in 1961. The aliens, apparently from the set-up Reticuli star system, had kind of mesmerized the couple as they were looking at its spacecraft while driving in a rural area. Moments later, they were 35 miles away, feeling All dazed and confused hours had gone by. The lapse of time became known as the missing time. It was only later that Betty recalled in her dreams that she had indeed been taken aboard the spacecraft. And the thing is, Betty's story, both fully conscious and under hypnosis, was not always the same, and later in life she said she had seen aliens again on several occasions. Skeptics also believe that Barney only went along with the story after she had told it numerous times, and it's believed that he was a lifelong UFO fanatic. Even these days you can find many people online that claim to have been abducted, but as of yet there is no evidence that proves this is not merely a fantasy. Until there is, we must remain skeptical. What about the most credible sightings of alien spacecraft, aka UFO? These don't always come from Reddit users stating they saw something that no one else did. Sometimes they come from more than one person working in a professional field. We might look at the case of what was described by a U.S. Navy pilot as a giant flying tic-tac. Bender David Fervor said in 2004, but he witnessed a white tic-tac about the same size as a Hornet, 40 feet long with no wings, just hanging close to the water. Other pilots saw it too and even filmed it. Fervor said that it was faster than I'd ever seen anything in my life, adding, "We turn around, say let's go see what's in the water, and there's nothing, just blue water." Number one has said the video was not real, and indeed the object looks like a massive tic-tac. In fact, after the video emerged, a Pentagon official leading a program to search for UFOs said, "My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone." He said his team had found mysterious aircraft that seemingly defy the laws of aerodynamics, couldn't in human engineering terms have the technology to fly, but they did fly, the flying to exact, and the Pentagon being so candid is probably the best evidence we have of aliens having visited us, but still it's far from being indisputable evidence. Motherboard interviewed a man named Peter Davenport in 2017. Davenport is the director of the National UFO Reporting Center. "If you see something strange in the sky, you call them," he says. Sightings have shot up in recent years, stating that most calls are serious-minded attempts to describe some type of object that the witness was unable to identify himself. The callers could sometimes be drunk and seem unreliable, but many calls come from people who hold positions of authority and are deadly serious. One such call came from a retired military fighter pilot who'd also been a commercial airline pilot and an astronaut. The caller said he'd seen a large orange glowing orb moving rapidly overhead. In fact, if you read through the dialogue of numerous calls, you might just become a UFO believer. However, if the truth is out there, it's not exactly on our TVs walking on the White House lawn and having cups of tea with the Queen of England. Given that so many planets around us, and given the sheer fact that it would be ignorant of us to say we are the only ones existing in the universe, it would be foolhardy to deny the existence of aliens. Then again, it's also unlikely that if they had landed here, the authorities could prevent those aliens from being seen more widely.